These are big questions that we need to ask in the longer period of time. Ultimately, we're focused on this operation. I'm really pleased to see that there is now a 72-hour ceasefire, a 3-day window, if you like. This is enough time, if it holds. Don't forget that previous ceasefires have collapsed, to get the Britons who are stuck there out. So we need to take full advantage of that. And I know the MOD will be planning to do just that. I suspect there will be a huge international effort, firstly, to secure that military airbase that will be used, the Wadi Seneda airbase, just north of the city. This is the same airport, don't forget, that it was used to evacuate embassy personnel, including our own diplomats. So our elite forces are not blind to this time, but very familiar with the airfield, very familiar with the routes into the city. So I suspect we're going to re-establish that air bridge, taking people from that location to Cyprus, to RAF Akrotiri, using our A400s, our Hercules, and our C-17s. All of those have defensive aid suites. They're used to working in theaters of difficulty. So we need to hope that this ceasefire holds. The other opportunity could be to go by land using the UN route that was established towards the port of Sudan. Of course, we've got a couple of ships that are heading that way as well. So there's a couple of options there. We just have to remember those chaotic scenes at the airport during the Kabul evacuation, with many of the locals wanting to get out as well, because obviously they feared for their lives too. So I think that's going to be the pressure to coordinate this. But we have the best people there working with our allies, most notably the United States, to hopefully make this work. Our focus right now is to make sure that we can get that airport secured. I have a constituent that's stuck in Sudan as well, in an area where, unfortunately, the Rapid Support Force, that paramilitary, actually opened up and freed a jail. So you have a prison, you have murderers and rapists wandering the streets as well. There's a desperation for the Britons to get out. What is good news is that the Foreign Office knows exactly the locations of all those British passport holders, and therefore can coordinate and get people to come, hopefully safely, to the airport and the rallying point during this ceasefire.
Yeah, sorry, Richard. We had the story from an Irish family who, their embassy were getting people out on Sunday morning. Sunday morning, they were getting her dad to a French embassy, and the French embassy then got the people out. There was coordination going on of citizens back in Sunday. It's now Tuesday morning. Is that a problem? Is that something that needs to be looked at?
Well, the reason why our embassy was evacuated was its location, really. It was right next to the airport, which had become disputed, contested between the paramilitary and Sudanese forces. It was also very, very close to the army headquarters and indeed the presidential palace. So we couldn't have used that building, that locality. I would like to see us retain some presence on the ground, diplomatic presence, perhaps protected by our military outside of Khartoum in a safe house somewhere, because understanding what's going on the ground and also the optics of this, of ensuring that we can support any Britons. There'll be dual nationals that may be prevented from getting out by the Sudanese themselves. So the support will continue even after this major evacuation that's just about to unfold.
Tobias, several people have got in touch with this morning and just asking the ethical question, which I'm interested in your thoughts on, because I know you clearly have a strong view in one direction on this. People choose to go to Sudan, people choose to go live there, people choose to go and take money to go live there. Why is it the role of the Foreign Office to get them out? Why is it not their responsibility to get themselves out?
Well, we have a duty of care to all passport holders wherever they are in the world. That is the bond, if you like, that we have with our citizens. In the case of my constituent, she was visiting her father, who is Sudanese, but my constituent is a British passport holder. She happened to get caught up in events at that time. But there's also, I think, a wider moral responsibility that Britain has, arguably more so than other nations. We have a history with the continent, clearly, when we step forward and provide assistance and provide stability and so forth, others then join us. So it's important that we look carefully at the bigger picture in Sudan. This has been, affected by the Wagner Group coming in, arming both sides of this equation, the Sudanese army, as well as the Rapid Support Force. Why? To exploit the gold that's there so Putin can fund his war in Ukraine. So there's some bigger questions that need to be asked in the longer term that we need to address. And what Russia is doing is being repeated in another dozen countries across Africa. So we need to take an interest in what's happening on the continent. and provide our support. I'm sorry that our DFID funding, our overseas aid budget, has been cut, not least in Sudan. It all has an impact.